Oh, I come from a land, from a faraway place, where the caravan camels roam, where it's flat and immense, and the heat is intense. It's barbaric, but hey, it's home. When the wind's from the east, and the sun's from the west, and the sand in the glass is right, come on down, stop on by, hop a carpet and fly to another Arabian night. Arabian night, like Arabian days, more often than not, are hotter than hot in a lot of good ways. Arabian nights need Arabian moons. A fool of his God could fall and fall hard out there on the dunes. What's up, guys? Welcome to my channel. So I just want to quickly go back and talk about how what I see with my eye when I rewatch Aladdin from a new point of view. Remember, so I'm trying to get close to God, right? So when you're trying to get close to God, and you read His Word, then you start seeing things more in reality. And this whole world, it's trying to basically promote evil. And I noticed even when I was standing for the train, I noticed a picture of Pokemon. It was promoting, some new card game, some new cards that they're making, a toy game, whatever. And it had a poster of a Pokemon, and he was it was Gengar, the ghost one, but he looked like, first of all, it was a spirit ghost type, right? And he was looking really evil. He was giving an evil eye. And I know what evil looks like, and they can portray it really easily in drawings. I guess when you're drawing it, you actually put intent to it too. So it's bad energy, I guess. And they're making kids saying, hey, that's cool, so that guy's good, you know what I mean? But when I watch Aladdin, Aladdin, he's a thief. So if we break it all down from the beginning, basically the first thing we notice is that there's a merchant in the very beginning of the show, and he's he actually shows a hookah. So they subliminally program a hookah so that kids can get used to hookahs, so they can smoke cannabis when they're young. It's all pre-programmed, right, in stages, right, before the 90s, right? But this is a small part. And then after that, they get no one in the whole show. It looks like it's a Islamic country or some country that believes in God, But basically, Aladdin's a thief, and he never praises God before he eats his food that he steals. And I know he's living a hard life, but he's basically a criminal he's a sinner, and he never even believes in God. And then essentially the show's about him. Oh, he wants to be a prince, he wants material, so it's putting into the kid's mind that we have to strive for material, gold, stuff like that. Now on the flip side, Jasmine character, she's against the law. Oh, she's against the law. So she's, I guess if a law is super corrupt, right? And in this case, I kind of do agree with her, but it's subliminally programming a rebellious spirit in the women, that they're going to be defiant, they're not going to listen to the law, they're not going to listen to their elders because they're, and I do agree to marry for love though, but it's just the subliminal programming. Then they got her in a really provocative shirt, clothing, and I know you can say that's nowadays that's not so bad, but back in those days in the 90s, that was kind of a lot for a kid. And then also you get these characters like Iago and Jafar, and Jafar is pure evil, but when you think about it, Iago the bird, he's actually the one who gave Jafar the idea to actually marry Jasmine and kill them after. Yet he, in the end, is spared, and actually in the next movie, he's actually redeemed, even though he actually never he actually accidentally saves Aladdin. He doesn't even intentionally, so he's still pure evil. Not pure, but he's evil. He's got a little good in him, but he's still good. He's still evil. So, essentially, Aladdin, the criminal, he essentially... Oh yeah, and then they're in the market, and then Jasmine is so stupid. I know she's so dumb that she actually doesn't know anything about money or buying anything. She's gonna be like, what, 21, or I don't know how old she's gonna be, a teenager. Maybe she's a teenager, but regardless, she's like, the guy's like, she gives an apple to those kids, and I prefer the animated version because it's just better in every way. The music, the character's eyes, the emotions, just the magical, because of the drawings, right? It just looks way better. Anyway, and then after, the guy's like, oh yeah, I want to actually go back to the only one who actually mentions God, which is they say call it Allah, but I'm not. I believe in the God of the Bible, right? But everyone's trying to follow the one God, right? But I believe in God through Jesus Christ. Anyway, so then the only ones who mention God is actually the criminal. There's this criminal that he's actually the one in the very beginning that Jafar talks to actually go into the Cave of Wonders, but actually gets killed by that tiger cave, whatever, the tiger cave. Anyway, so then he actually's like, I had to slit a couple throats, but I got it. I mean, he got those like the half of that beetle gem that opens the Cave of Wonders. But he actually says by Allah when the cave opens. And actually, Jasmine's father, the Sultan, he actually says by Allah too. And one time when he says when she's acting rebellious, he says by Allah, I forbid you to have any daughters. I just thought that was interesting. Anyway, so then basically when she's out and about, this dumbass princess, she's like, what's money? I guess because she's always been served things, but it's just so stupid that she would never even have knowledge of that as well. And then she never even thinks to like sell her gold earrings that she has on her fucking ears that are massive, that are actually probably worth like massive amounts of money. And then the criminal Aladdin, he actually gets a magical lamp and rubs it and summons a jinn. Now, what I've heard from my Islamic brothers is that they don't believe in demons in their belief, but they believe in basically angels. Everything's angels, good ones and evil ones. And I do believe in this, like there are evil angels, right? And and also that's what the 33rd degree, it means 33, the 33 of the like percent of the angels that fell. Anyway, so then it's interesting. He summons a jinn, and jinn, and actually in Islam is actually evil. They're the evil ones, the evil angels. And then he makes a wish. So they make 3 wishes. And then Robert Williams comes out, and he basically probably either got human sacrificed, or he actually, because he had a lot of light and potential to be a good person. He was a good person, but he was probably blinded and didn't know what the hell was happening because he's raised in this stuff, right? And then, or he got mentally broken down by all the evil things he saw in Hollywood and suicided. But regardless, it was this satanic Hollywood, right? And basically this jinn, Robert Williams, he starts talking about his wish, that he wants to be free. He wants to be the master of his own universe. So it's teaching kids that they can be the master of their own universe. When in reality, there is no such thing. You're either God is your master, Jesus is your master, right? God in human form, or the devil is your master. There's no other way. If you're not with one, you're with the other. You're a bitch of the system if you're not with God. You know what I mean? Anyway, so then we continue here, and then we're going to continue, blah, blah, blah. He wishes to be a prince. Oh, yeah, I thought this was super interesting. Actually, as I rewatched it from another eye, that his first wish, Aladdin, he says, I want to be a prince. And then basically the genie scams him, he gives him a whole, he doesn't make him a kingdom. He doesn't make that whole place that they were in like a real place, like a physical castle with servants that are real, like entities that are like, or servants or whatever, or like he doesn't have a kingdom really to give. He actually just gives him like a illusion, gives him clothing, and gives him a magic. I guess the story is that it's a magical image that basically people believe he's a prince, but he's not really, you know what I mean? He doesn't have authority, he doesn't have real servants, he doesn't have real wealth, real money, and everything disappears after it. But when Jafar gets the lamp and he wishes to be the sultan, physically the sultan's power gets physically removed and put onto him, and in front of the whole people everyone witnesses that the power has been changed. So I felt that even people online were saying, what's up with that, like kind of, and I could say, you know how I said that basically since Aladdin scammed the genie out of the first wish by saying, hey, I don't, you know, he tricked him from the first one to get him out of the cave, he scammed him on the way back. That's what I think. Anyway, and then after that, let's see. And then we got a whole new world. I don't know, that song could be just interpreted as like a new world order programming song, but it's just a celebration of human love, right? Which is beautiful, but limited, limited, and not as good as God's love towards man, because love is unconditional and perfect, and humans can learn from that. Now, what else did I see? Oh, there's like when Jafar turns into a giant serpent snake, and you know, there's like symbols with Jafar. Like, I thought it was interesting that he has a staff of a snake, and there's a lot of sixes that are like hidden in the movie within like Jafar's beard, or the genie's tail or beard or whatever, or the magical carpet was cool. And then also what was interesting was that, oh yeah, the Sultan, he's like a king, right? Like a leader in these old days. And this is always how it has been, people, that the leader of the royal kingdom always had a sorcerer, because they needed someone who's studied the occult and magic and witchcraft to help them control everything. Because like I'm learning about energy, and I'm finding out that this whole society is controlled by a witchcraft energetic knowledge. Like, so since you have knowledge of energy, then you can control everyone and everyone's mind. It's basically mind control. And hey, go figure that the word government means mind control in Latin. What else can I say about Aladdin? Oh yeah, and then the very end, he frees the jinn. Oh yeah, so then they make, first he tricks the Jafar to make himself an all-powerful being. So it's so funny, like he's an all-powerful being, but he's limited, and he's in a fucking little container controlled by a man. Funny, right? And then basically the genie straight up, he wishes the jinn to be free in the end. That's so funny. What would you wish for? What 3 wishes would you wish for? That's such an interesting question. I think I'll keep that private. Anyway, one last thing I want to say is that at the very end, I felt like as a kid, I was so uncomfortable when like I say this is what I really believe in, that Disney is knowledgeable of how the mind works, and they essentially were created just like Hollywood, a company to control the minds of the masses. Yeah, because it's like a mind control witchcraft, just like Hollywood. Hollywood is the wood made from the wizard's staff or wand. And basically they created Hollywood to create magical movies that would mystify and captivate the minds of the masses and to entertain them while they keep you in a state of trance. They planted some like propaganda, and then they put romance in a Disney movie so that little kids can be thinking of things that like they don't even supposed to think about when they're a little kid. You know, they're supposed to just enjoy being a kid. They're not supposed to think about romance or like dating or anything. That's why all when I was like a little kid, all kids were all thinking about was like, oh, this girl has a crush on you or this. And when I really couldn't give a fuck, you know, when you're a little boy, you don't give a real fuck about that shit. And then what it does is it makes everyone in the Disney movies made everyone think about romance when they're teenagers, and then they chase romance and they chase love in the wrong spots, got hurt, fucked up their life, or they essentially married the wrong person. They didn't find their one because they didn't get aligned and find the one that God intended for them, their life true partner. So it ends up in a divorce, and then it's like everything goes like 2 steps forward, 5 steps back, you know what I mean? And essentially Jasmine is like made super just like slutty, like super, it was making me super uncomfortable when she was in that red outfit when I was a kid, you know. And then when she kissed Jafar, I was like, felt sick as a kid. And also I felt what else was disgusting was that, and I guess you could say, oh, so he was just a thief and he needed to steal because he was so poor. Well, you know what? It's never okay to steal no matter how desperate you are, because God will always provide. And if you're worrying, that's a sin. You should trust in God, and that's how the universe works. Faith over fear. Anyway, peace. God bless.